Welcome to the session on creating interactive memory game in PowerPoint. This video is in the series of interactive PowerPoint presentation tutorials. You can watch my other videos for creating navigation menu and interactive quiz in PowerPoint. Also, how to convert PowerPoint into an ebook module. While developing this basic level memory game in PowerPoint, you will realize that this game logic can be applied to implement various interactive activities. Currently, I am using this logic to flap cards to match the email component along with its purpose. So as we can see here, carbon copy is matched with a symbol. So we can flap cards, and if they don't match, we will have to manually get them back to its original position. Right now it's used as a memory game, but it can be also used as an in-class activity, where you can ask the students to choose a number and open a card with a topic for discussion. These numbers can be also treated as group numbers. So for example, these numbers 1, 2, 3, they can be treated as group numbers, and we can open up a card under that group number to allocate a task to that group at the end of the day. We will have to set it back manually right now. So now let us learn how to create this interactive memory game in PowerPoint. The first step is to get our slide ready with the necessary setup. We require two sets of elements, the front squares with numbers and the back elements either as images or text. So the front elements are visible in this PowerPoint window, and the respective elements behind them are displayed in this image here. It means that carbon copy is behind the box number 1. So if I just move this box, you will find that I have carbon copy box behind this box number 1. Similarly, for my other boxes, I have elements. So these yellow ones and these blue boxes which are behind them, these ones, these are all shapes which are formatted to give some effect of 3D, and also we have edited their text so that the text is displayed as a label on these shapes. Whereas these are images. So these icons which you are seeing, link, drive, the pin, BCCCC, these are all images inside my PowerPoint. So it's the same one. So you can choose to omit these numbers onto the boxes, but I have deliberately kept them because it is easy for me to map which box corresponds to the which element. So this is easy for my further process. Otherwise, if I interchange these boxes, I won't come to know which box is where. So for that purpose, I have numbered them. So the yellow boxes which are created, those are created through shapes. So we go to insert menu, shapes, and select rounded rectangle. I'm just creating one sample shape. After creating this rectangle, we click on format menu and give formatting. So I'm choosing this glossy fill effect, and the color is now changed to this. I will also right click it and click on edit text and put the number. I have highlighted it, change the font color and the font size to be higher. Little bit of resizing, and it's exactly the same way as we have for our other buttons. You can duplicate this button by pressing Ctrl D. Ctrl D is for duplicate. So I can create multiple duplicates and edit the label for numbers. So in this way, I had created all the 12 buttons. Now behind these boxes are our other elements, behind elements. So these are boxes, or some of them are images. Now in case of images, you can insert them through insert menu, picture, but make sure that after inserting these images, they need to be resized to suit the size of our boxes. Now the simplest trick to get these elements aligned on top of each other is to align them in pairs. Now, if I right click the top element and select send to back, I will be able to change the order of these pairs. So in case when you align them in a grid on top of each other, if the ordering is not proper, you can select the top element and choose either to send it back or to get it front. So it's the same way. So this will be on top, and if I don't want this to be on top, I will just send it back. So the behind will come ahead. Also, if you have too many boxes to fit, then you can also change your slide dimension. So for changing the slide dimension, go to Design tab and click on Page Setup. Here, as you can see, I have changed my dimension to A4 size paper. So you can choose from various sizes, and you can choose either to have a portrait mode or a landscape mode. I have chosen a portrait mode. Now we will have to change the browsing style of presentation. We don't want the slide to advance on mouse clicks. So for that purpose, we will go to slideshow menu and select setup slideshow. In the show type, we are going to select browsed at a kiosk. Let the other settings be as it is and click on OK. This is to ensure that the slides do not advance on any random mouse clicks or arrow keys. Click on OK. Now the next to use is selection pane. We will use the selection pane to rename the components on the screen. So firstly, you will have to rename all the components using selection pane. So click on any box, go to format menu and select selection pane. Click selection pane. A pane that opens on the right hand side, it will show all the elements present onto the screen. Now you can see here, there are some elements, but I have already renamed them. In your case, the rectangles will have a different name. For example, I will just draw one shape right now over here. So as you can see, you will have this kind of naming, rounded rectangle. So you need to double click, select that shape, double click and give the name to this component. So in this way, we have renamed all the components which are present onto our screen. In case of those components which are behind the image or which are behind your boxes, you can just shift these boxes a little bit. Then as you see the component behind it, you can click on it. You can see that the corresponding element is highlighted inside your selection pane. You can double click it and then you can rename it. Again, you can get the components back in place. So every time you select a component, a corresponding element is highlighted inside your selection pane. So we have renamed all these top boxes as per their numbers, and we have renamed the behind elements as per their nature. That is, this is an image icon of Drive. This is an image of Smart Compose. So this was an image of Smart Compose. This was the image of BCC. So we have renamed it in that manner. So after you rename all the elements, now we go for the animation section. We go to animations menu and click on animation pen. Now as you can see here, now the next task to do is to make the animations for flipping of the cards. So the sequence is that the top cards should disappear on clicking them, and they should appear back after clicking the element which is behind it. For example, one should disappear when I click on one, and if I click on the element which is behind it, so I'm talking about carbon copy. If I'm clicking on this element which was behind it, then this element, that is 1, should again reappear. So we will add all the disappearing animations first and then add the appearing animation. So in the animation pen, you can see here, we have all the disappearing animations first, and then we have all the appearing animations. So this is like a disappearing animation, and it is going to be triggered on click of 1. So if I click on 1, the 1 will disappear, and if I wish to get it back, I have this animation which is of carbon copy. So if I click on carbon copy, this is my appear effect. So if I click on carbon copy, my 1, that is box 1, will again appear on trigger of button click of carbon copy. So now what I will do is I will just quickly delete all these animations so that we can start afresh. So I'm just deleting these animations. So now this is what your animation pane look like for the first time. There is no animation added to it. So we will do one by one. So now the sequence is, we need to make all these top boxes disappear first. So we will do in a sequence for all of them from 1 till 12. So let us click the box number 1. Then we go to the animations menu, and in animations menu, we click on add animation. So the first is, we will make them all disappear first, because as already they are onto the screen, the first click should make them disappear. So add animation, and we move down to the exit section. And in exit section, I will select disappear. This animation is added, and you could see the effect here as well. But when this animation of disappearing should take place, so this should take place on the trigger, that is on click of this one box. So we need to go to trigger, that is to set a condition when this will take place, and say on click of 1. Now this is where our selection pane labels are helping us. I can easily identify which box am I supposed to select. So this 1 indicate my 1 box, because we had already renamed it inside our selection pane. So this is 1. So this is added. Similarly, we will do it for the remaining 11 boxes. So quickly we will do it. Click on 2, go to animation, add animation, and make it disappear. Exit section, make it disappear. So it's over here. As this is already selected, we go to trigger and say on click of 2. So the second box will disappear if you click on 2. So if I click here, this will disappear. Similarly for 3, add animation. We are already there in the animation menu. Go to exit section, disappear. And this should be triggered on click of 3. So in short, every box is going to disappear if we click on that box. So I'm doing it for 4, disappear, on trigger of 4, 5, add animation, exit section, disappear, trigger, on click of 5. It won't take much time for me to finish for all the boxes. So as you can see, all our animations are getting added one below the other. 6. I think if you make anything wrong, you can just remove it. So I think we are done with 6. So I will click on 7, add animation, disappear, and then on click of 7. Now this is perfect. 8, add animation, disappear, on trigger of 8. So this 9, add animation, disappear, and on trigger, that is on click of your 9 box, that is box 9. So you can see that if you have your all labels ready using selection pen, it is very easy to set the animations. And the last is 12. That's it. We are done for 12. So now, as you can see, we have all the 12 boxes disappearing animations being prepared. So this is interpreted as, for example, if I take off 6, that 6 will disappear on click of the 6th button. So just by adding animation is not enough. We need to also set the trigger so as to determine when this animation should take place. So now we have created for all the 12 boxes. Now the next step is, if you run the slideshow at this stage and click on all the 12 boxes, they will disappear. But if you click on the remaining, that is the behind elements, these 12 boxes will not reappear because we have not yet added the reappear animations or the appear animations. So now we will just go on adding the appear animations for the boxes in sequence. So again we start from 1, and this time in add animation I want it to appear. So I'm talking about the entrance effect now. I want it to appear. So I'm selecting appear. Now when it should appear, so it's there onto the top. Now when it should appear, so it should appear when I will be clicking on element which is behind it. So now you need to either remember all those elements which are behind each of those boxes, or every time you will have to click on the box, then shift it aside, understand what is behind the box, and then remember it. So now in this case, what we are doing is I'm selecting it. I have already made a note onto my notebook that behind 1 which element is there, behind 2 which element is there. So in this way, for all the 12 elements, I have made a note of all the elements which are behind it. So we are selecting this effect, appear effect, and then we will go on trigger, and on click of, I know that it is carbon copy. So now this appearing effect is now added over here. Similarly, we will do it quickly for the remaining 11 boxes. So on 2, I actually have an icon of link. For your double confirmation, I will just show you over here. It's here. So in this way, I have made a note of it. So I am going to click on 2. Again, I will click on add animation. I will say appear in the entrance effects. Once it is highlighted on top over here, trigger, on click of, I have a link image. So that is image link. So I have created this naming in such a way that I can easily identify which are the images, and I can differentiate it from my other text boxes. I mean to say the boxes with text. So this is image link. So we will do it quickly for 3. Click on appear, and I need to set a trigger on Smart Compose. So when this 3, so once that 3 disappeared on my first click, then my card has been flipped and I know what is behind it. So this will be there. So again, if I click on Smart Compose, this 3 should be back into its place. This is what it means. So for 4, again appear. So 4 is going to appear, but when it is going to appear, or when it is going to get triggered, the appearance effect, on click of my behind element. 5, after disappearing, it is going to appear, but when it is going to appear, or when it is going to get triggered, on click of the icon which is behind it. So I have a dry icon. So we will quickly do it for rest of the things. Entrance, it should get triggered on my image. So 7. Now if you observe, you have every box getting a double lightning symbol besides it. It is like an animation, 2 animations getting added along with triggers. So this is my 8th one, and 8th I have attach files. So this indicates that there are 2 triggers over here. So our one was for our disappearing and the other was for appearing. Now if you are doing it, it will take hardly a minute for you to complete this. You can also try various other effects, but I am keeping it simple right now, just an appearing effect, because we don't want to take much time in making that animation. So if you run this slideshow right now, after creating all these effects inside your animation pen, so we have first disappearing effects and we have then the appearing effects, then you will be able to play it as a memory game. So please do test it, and thanks for watching the video.